I'm getting close to having these off-road lights wired up. This video is about building this light bar that I built. I know I've heard people call these chase bars, sport bars. I'm sure there's other names for them. The ones I saw were about $600 or $700, some of them up over $1,000. I built this one for just under 100. All the parts were 110, but I get 10% off, so it was $99. And then there's tax, so I guess it was like $107. But even still, that's a whole lot less than the ones they build. I haven't wired any of these lights. I haven't even mounted these two little lights here. I'm just putting them on there to see what I want to do, where I want to put them. The big one is mounted to a 1-inch pipe that's slid inside of a 1 1/4, so that can go up and down. And then I'm gonna drill some holes so I can mount it. But for now, I just put it in there to see how it looks. I think it came out okay. I'm not a fan of how it looks when I put just the black bar across the top. So I think I'm gonna leave it like this, if I even leave it in my truck, but we'll see. I might drive it like this to work tomorrow to see how loud it is. And if it's not too loud, I'll just leave it. So anyway, enjoy the video. It's how I built this thing. I can put a parts list and how I did it if you guys are interested, but really, PVC is one of those things you just have to be comfortable working with, because every cut was a little bit off. I was cutting as I was doing it. I didn't like go through and measure every piece and then put it all together, because that's just a recipe for disaster if one thing's off. So I built it as I went. Anyway, that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to take measurements and give you an idea, but really, you just got to go for it. So I pushed it all the way down. That's as far down as it can go. And it doesn't block the third tail light too much. I mean, if I was driving in a car behind it, I could still see it. If you're in a semi truck, like this is lifting the thing up pretty high, it might block it from that, but I think this might actually work. When you make a spoiler out of a huge surfboard, it's a little bit funny. This to me is just, it's super functional. It's not gonna look awesome. It's not made of metal, but it's gonna work. This thing, through a hole, I put a fender washer on top, a fender washer on the bottom. If I loosen it, I can move it maybe about a 1/4 inch in any direction, so that'll help when I'm trying to fine tune everything. This 45 just slides right on here. So if you've ever worked with PVC, you know once you put it on, it's kind of hard to get off. But the intention is to put this all the way down, drill a hole through both, and then put a 1/4 inch 20 thread through here, and then a lock, or just, there's a name for it, wing nut. Put a wing nut on this side so I can get it off. But really the only thing I need to be able to adjust without tools is the actual light bar that's going to be on top. So that one will probably be what I use the wing nuts for. So anyway, that is what's happening. All right, so I think I've got this brace pretty much put together. I might have to cut a tiny bit off here, but we're going to see once it totally dries. I don't want glue to drip on the truck. So this is going to be from the bed rail to there, from right here up, and then I'm thinking that I was going to do one more from here down just to give it some structure this way, because just a pipe up and then going across, it's going to wobble, but you put a 45 and then you got some strength. So this is going to provide the forward and back strength, and then from here over and from that one that way will provide this way. So I think it should be really secure once I actually put it together. I really hope I didn't screw this up. But the good thing about PVC, it's a little bit flexible, so you can always bend it. So I think it's going to fit perfectly once I get this 290s. And then it'll basically ride, I guess it has to be above the brake light. So I guess I have to have it up this high all the time. But the intention will be that it's in here like this, and then I can always maybe lift it up and send it forward if I were out. So I think the height I'm going to keep it at is going to be right above this brake light, so it'll always be in the wind, which is kind of a bummer. The other option would be all the way down here, but I don't think I can do that now because I cut these things already. Who knows? I'm just going to keep building. It's too hard to plan all this stuff before you do it. It's more fun to just get going, and the good thing is it's just PVC, so worst case I just do it again. I mean, I can reuse a lot of the stuff, and then I just adjust as necessary. Uh-oh. It's too big to do this. This throws a wrench in my plan here. All right, so I got to figure out another way. I could just bolt it straight into the pipe, which I think is what I'm going to end up having to do. So this actually works out. It won't be adjustable, though. That's the problem. What can I do to make this adjustable? I guess I'm bolting it into a piece of pipe, and that pipe doesn't have to be locked in, so that's how I do it, make it adjustable. All right, and take these things off. New plan. So I drilled holes in these for no reason. Kind of a bummer, but maybe I'll find another use for them. So I'm not completely winging this. I have an idea in my head, but you always got to be adaptable. So now I'm thinking, whoa, hey, slippery. So I'm going to glue this onto here. And then I'm going to have to do another 45 and tie into a T there. So let's just mock this up and see how it looks. So right now, I have this piece, and I need to just put another 45 on this side, but it needs to be lined up perfectly, and it's really hard to eyeball it. So what I do is take any fitting that you already have. I have these two end caps, so you could use a T, you could use anything, and you put it in here in this one. So now if you didn't put that in there, it's gonna wobble and go down a little bit. So you put that in there, and then you have another piece that you can put in this side. So once I put the glue on, I'm going to go like this, push it down, and make sure everything is on this flat level surface. And then I can pull all the other pieces out. And then when you're doing this, you got to put glue on both pieces of pipe. You always do the inside of this one. That way you can set it down. I mean, we're not putting water pressure to this, so it really doesn't matter. It just needs to hold. Okay, so now put it on about 90 degrees off, put it on there, it's sliding off, and then make sure everything is even. And really it's set already, so I can't move it anymore. Well, I'm gonna bust my butt one of these times getting up here. I'm looking at it, I'm wondering if I made that one a little bit too big. And really, if it's too big or too small, it's super easy. You just, if it's too big, you cut it and take a section of it out and then put a sleeve on it. If it's too small, you cut it, put a sleeve on it, and have it just spaced out a tiny bit. So you can adjust all of these things with a sleeve, and a sleeve's like $1 and then some glue. So really, it's not expensive if you mess it up and you have to adjust some stuff. Bring the camera down here so you can watch this debacle that I'm about to attempt. I'm not going to be able to rotate it. I'm just going to have to slide it in there. So I'm going to keep my knees right here. I'm going to get the glue on the two insides. I'm going to do the outsides and just get it going. I'm going to stop talking and just do it. Send it. That's what I'm talking about. Perfect. My video's falling apart. So I finished both sides. It's pretty symmetrical. Not absolutely perfect, but eyeballing it is pretty darn good. I think what I'm gonna do is take that one piece that comes down out and do one that kind of comes down over and up, or just take that all together, because that was more to keep the whole thing from bending forward and back. But I don't think that's gonna be an issue now that I have the side braces. So I might just cut that piece off, maybe like right about there, so I could always put a sleeve on it if I wanted to add to it. But I still haven't decided exactly how I'm gonna mount the light. I think I'm gonna play with some 1-inch pipe that slides in and out of those side things and figure out how to connect it. But pretty happy with it. I'm gonna take it out right now and spray paint it and then put it back in. So I was just gonna leave these, but I'm gonna take them out and paint them as well. I figure if I'm painting everything, I want these to be black like everything else. So the paint's dry. I just put it in the back of the truck. I already see a spot that I missed with the paint right there. So I'll take it back out and probably do another coat. And I see another spot I missed on that crossbar over there. So I thought I did a good job, but I'm just putting it in here to see how it looks. I still got to paint some other parts once I get the light across the top. I'm going to put that in right now. I think I fit it just about right. So the light's in there. That is a 1-inch PVC pipe slid inside a 1 1/4, and it fits absolutely perfect. Super tight. I mean, it's not moving. It's hard to slide up and down, but I am still going to drill a hole through here to put a cotter pin through, and then I'll have several different heights for this. I don't plan on driving with this thing on the truck all the time. It's just for when I go out to like drive on a trail, do a camping trip or something, just because I don't want this wind noise and just all this extra drag on it. And like I said, I made it out of PVC, so it does not look all that great. I might paint a black. I might take this out and do a second one that's just black PVC that goes across, so there is a crossbar, so when there's no light it still looks normal, but we'll see about that. But for now, I mean, let's see it from the front. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Looks kind of weird. But like I said, this is just a functional thing. This is not a forever type thing. Looks like it's angled back a little bit. Not much I can do about that at this point. Well, that's not true. I could loosen these and slide the whole thing forward just a bit to force it forward. Or I can just bite the bullet and buy an actual, what do they call these, sports bars. So I got my final coat of paint on everything. Those are the little stoppers that are on the bed rail. This is the bar I'm gonna put across the back. I don't think I'm gonna use that big light on the back. I think I'm gonna get small, like 4-inch lights and put them on there. But anyway, the paint turned out really good. I'm pretty happy with it. I guess we'll see. All said and done, this thing's less than 100 bucks, so not a bad gig. So I initially put that big bar on the top in the back, and I just thought it looked weird being in the back. So I think I'm just gonna put littler lights up there. So this is the done, pretty much done thing here I built out of PVC for the back of my truck. It is by no means structural. It's not a roll cage. Even if you had this thing made out of metal, it wouldn't be a roll cage because the bed where it's attached to can't support that anyway. So unless you like went all the way down to the frame or something, most of the sports bars you get are not actual roll bars. They're just a way to put some lights and maybe grab onto if you're in the back. This is 1 1/4 inch PVC. It's relatively strong. People make pull-up bars out of it. I mean, it does wobble a fair amount, but it's pretty good. I mean, the whole truck is moving and it's not giving any. This is a long piece. You can see it flexing a little bit there, but really, it's not bad. I could always take this out and put a T there and do one more straight up, but then I have a pipe in the middle. I don't really want to do that. So for what I'm looking for, this is good enough. And then the thing I really like about it is with 2 Allen bolts, there's one in there and one on the other side. All I have to do is take that bolt out and the bolt over there, and then these just pop right off. And then there's a little cap in there, but it's just a bolt, so I can take that and then put the original thing on there again. So within 5 minutes, I can have this out of my truck. I don't plan on keeping it on there. This is more for when I'm going somewhere at night and I want to have the extra light. I think the next thing I'm going to build is a bed extender out of 1 1/4 inch PVC. So you've got these 2 bolt holes right here. So I think what I'll do, and I saw a couple other YouTube videos on it, is I guess I have to use the upper bolt hole to flip it back and forth because it has to be in the middle. So then it could go up to here. But anyway, a bed extender made out of PVC that comes out to here and then can fold in. And then the good thing about having it folded in is it would be to about here, about a foot, maybe whatever the width of the tailgate is, 18 inches. And then when you have the tailgate up, you've got this section right back here blocked off. And then if you need to extend it out, you put the tailgate down and flip it back. So you guys know what bed extenders are. I'm just gonna make my own because they look like they're about 300 bucks. I think I can make it for 100 out of PVC and it'll work just fine. I set 2 lights up there just to see how it looks. Again, I'm not gonna be driving around like this on the roads. I will only put this on when I'm heading to the trails. And to be honest, I could just leave it in the back of the truck. And then when I get to the trail, put it up there. So I think it looks acceptable, but I don't want it on there all the time. So this is the only part that has to get bolted to the truck. I already took it off the other side and put the cover back on. I did have to cut a little bit of the plastic there, but it doesn't affect how the cap stays on. So that was the only thing I had to do. I think after doing all this, I don't know how else I would mount lights, but I'm not a fan of how it looks. I should have just waited for aftermarket stuff to get out, but 700 bucks for one of these things is kind of crazy. I just wanted a way to mount lights. I had no patience, so I wanted to see if this thing's gonna work. I wired it with some wire I had left over. It wasn't long enough, so I just did it outside the truck. I hooked it up to auxiliary switch 6, which is a 25 amp circuit. So 25 amps at 12 volts gives you 300 watts, and this is a 288 watt light. So let's see if something blows up when I turn on switch 6. Nothing blew up, it worked. All right, so I guess that's cool. Not really, yeah, I mean, not sure what I expected. It is daylight, but lit up my garage a little bit, so turn it. Sweet. Okay, now I got to clean up these wires. And I think what I'm going to do is run this wire straight down, drill a hole into this pipe and have it come down inside the pipe. And then I'm not sure where I'm going to run the wire. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Maybe just straight through the gas tank. I think that should work. Just drill a hole through the bottom of the gas tank and then send the wire through the gas tank and then out the top, because that's the most direct path. Maybe like wind it around that spring in there too, or I could like zip tie it to this part of the wheel. There's so many options. That's what I'm doing.
It's over!